Hello, hi everyone. Welcome to the weekly consciousness class. Very happy to see everyone here, to have the opportunity to give this class in this very interesting time that we're in, to help us, me, you, everyone, to help us understand how we can use it more, what's really going on, to get a little bit more peace and more understanding of what's going on right now. And before we begin, it's always good to tune ourselves to a little bit higher consciousness, higher brainwave. So we want to do a meditation before we start. We can close our eyes and ground ourselves, center our consciousness in our heart. And we want to see and feel as there is energy coming from the earth, from the center of the earth, all the way up to our feet, going through our entire body, filling our body with new, fresh consciousness. As this consciousness and this energy is starting to pop above our head and form a beautiful ball of light above our head. And we want to pretend that we're in this ball of light. And we want to release and send this light, this ball of light above our head, above the building, above our planet, all the way across the universe and go through layers of light and dark, light and dark, light and dark, and end up at the plane that is bright, bright, bright light. Keep going higher. We're going to see a plane that is golden, that has golden hues, feels very warm, very welcoming. And go to the next layer of light that feels like liquid or thick water. Keep going higher. And see an opening with beautiful pearl-like shining. Head to this opening. Go through it. And enter the plane of the creator, the tree of life, the flawless universe, the endless, the space of the creator, and bring ourselves here and think of why are we here? Why are we in this class? What do we want to learn, achieve, find out, connect to? We want to ask these questions. We want to activate our consciousness and be present, not just to listen, but to actually connect and send energy to the entire world. And we want to dedicate this class, and that this class, this session will send out more light of healing, more light of peace, more light of understanding, of unity and love to the entire world. Okay, so we are in a very exciting time right now. Very intense. We just had we're still in the middle of a pandemic, and then we have what's going on right now with so much civil rights movement and activity and people protesting, and at the same time people abusing that. So it's so much going on. It's just like, to be very honest, yesterday and the day before yesterday, I was a little bit like, what is going on already? Like, come on, like, it's a little bit too much. 2020 is the year of the century, if not the millennia. And then it started to like come to me, because I was in this mode and I wasn't really asking the creator of what's going on, or give me a message or a sign or give me more wisdom. It was just more of my own space, and it felt very uncomfortable. It's not a very comfortable space to be in. And then yesterday I was thinking about the class and the weekly portion and the energy. Things start to come together, and things start to be more congealed and start to make more sense a little bit. So first, this week's portion is very special. It's very powerful. It's a lesson after a lesson after a lesson after a lesson. It's such an amazing portion. And there's a few very exciting points that I really want to share with you. I'll give you homework for whoever wants to actually do a homework that you can. How do you use all this energy that's going on right now with activism, with Corona, with spirituality, etc. Like, how do you deal with all this? So this weekly portion is called Becha'alotcha, and the literal story, there's probably 6 or 7 parallel stories that are happening in this week's portion. So it's not just one. It's one after another, and then another. Very different stories, not in a chronological order. This week's a portion of this week's story actually happens before something that happened before in a previous portion. So it shows that the stories in the Bible and the Torah are not linear. They're completely unlinear, and it's something that the sages teach us, that they're not linear. But that's not the point. Becha'alotcha means to raise up, to rise up, and to raise up. And it talks about last week's portion. You know that the nation of Israel was divided into 12 tribes, and in last week's portion, every single tribe made a contribution, made a kind of an offering to the Creator, a special one. And the person that represented or was the prince or kind of the governor of each tribe made a contribution for the tribe. And it's, as we know, there's 12 tribes, and then there's the tribe of Levites and Aaron and the priests, the Kohanim. And in this week's portion, at the end of last week's portion, Aaron feels like he's kind of unworthy of doing a contribution. And because the Creator doesn't call him to make a contribution, and he immediately feels like he is kind of a second-class citizen, like he's not special or worthy enough, or he's not somebody who deserves respect. And he immediately connects it to the incident of the golden calf, because he's the one that made the golden calf happen. So he kind of contributes it. Oh, I'm not given the opportunity to connect as the other tribes, and it's probably because of the golden calf. So he makes this assumption right away. And right as he feels this, like, why am I not given this opportunity? The Creator gives Moses the instruction to tell Aaron to make the most special connection and contribution than any other tribe, where he's actually not just given a sacrifice, but he's asked to perform the lighting of the menorah, which is a very special connection, which is something that had to always remain on. And it's actually higher connection than any other, of all the other tribes that they had to, the connection that they had to do. So it shows us that Aaron, he felt like he's not worthy. Just like right now, what we see that, there's, racism or sexism or any other separation or disunity between people, or if you might feel like you're not worthy enough, that is not something that we want to connect to. That is not the consciousness that we want to connect to. We want to connect to the consciousness of being our best version of ourselves. That's what the opponent wants. That's what the Satan wants. He always wants you to think that anyone is a second-class citizen, right? And that's what actually, whenever you feel that way, that's when you want to treat others that way also. Only a totally complete, whole, and unified human being will always treat others with love, respect, dignity, and human dignity. And if anyone treats anyone any other way, that means they don't treat themselves that way. So one of the lessons of this week's portion is, just like people are doing now, they're raising up. And that's what the week's portion is. It's about raising up to the challenge, to the next level that we're meant to be. And another lesson that we're seeing is, that really, to me, it just, when a student asked me, like, what do you think is going on right now? And really the only thing that I feel is that there's so much lack of consciousness. There's absolutely a huge lack of consciousness in the entire world. That's what it really is. That's why there's such acts of hate and, even the coronavirus. Everything that is happening in the world is happening because there's lack of consciousness. And it blew me away. As I was thinking this, I opened to the Zohar and I posted it on my social media, this quote from the Zohar that is, it's not from this week's portion, it's from the last week's portion, but it's really incredible that it talks about how, there's people right now protesting on the streets, right? And I open up to this section, which is a little bit complicated, but I'll decipher it for you. So it's in portion Naso, and it's paragraph 269. And it says, when the white hairs of Atika Yumina flow to the hairs of Zerampin, it is written, wisdom cry out in the streets or outside. What is the meaning of outside? And then it deciphers it. But this quote, this sentence is from King Solomon. It says that when wisdom will be crying and will be kind of like exposed outside, that's when things will start to change more and more and more. And really the only solution to all these problems that are happening in this world, it's nothing but change of consciousness. Nothing, literally nothing. It's not about learning, more of anything besides understanding and learning the true laws of this universe and practicing them. And when people start to do it more and more and more, that's when the world will change. That's when we're going to live in a better place. And that's it. It's so simple. And as much as we want to feel that we're lost, that we are, that like, what can you do? Like really, to me, it was shocking that we're just past 2 or 3 months of pandemic. And then this starts to happen, right? And on one side, people are doing protests, which is activism, which is something that you should do. They're raising up, right? But it's also probably happening because of the frustration and the confusion that was caused by the pandemic. And then some people are totally abusing it and completely, doing crime, right? So it's happening at the same time. Both of these things, I don't want to say the solution, but something that will improve and help these situations is only elevation of consciousness. Only, there's nothing but that. And I'm going to get more into that at the end of the class. That's what homework I got for everyone that they can do. But then this week's portion, it blew me away, the Rav's commentary, and I want to read it to you for this week's portion. Because what also happens is in this week's, in the story, Moses is asked to construct and make the candelabra, the menorah, that was supposed to be in the tabernacle or in the temple, which Aaron was supposed to light. And this is the connection that Aaron was given, the contribution. It connects us to Hanukkah, to the miracle of Hanukkah. And we're almost exactly 6 months away from Hanukkah. It connects us to, also there's a question that the Creator tells Aaron Moses something very interesting, that you're supposed to make the whole candelabra in one shot. You cannot make one stick, another stick, the stem separately and then put them together. You have to make the entire structure of the menorah all in one. And this kind of confuses Moses. And he actually goes in this kind of like state, like, how do you do that? Like, that's impossible. And he doesn't understand, how could you do that? And this is what the Rav comments on. This is beautiful. I'm going to read you the whole thing because it just blew me away. And it connects to the fact of how I was, and maybe some of you have been feeling a few days of like just such confusion of what in the world is going on. So this is from the Rav about this week's portion. Moses made the menorah, or the candelabra, as it says, and the candelabrum would rise as God told Moses. And that one of the reasons we come here, because the difficulty that Moses encountered wasn't in the physical menorah. When it became difficult, Moses said, God, give me a vision. The answer can only be that the menorah could not be created in sections. Rather, Moses was shown how to construct it in one piece. Out of one piece, not in sections. So this is what was so difficult for Moses, constructing the candelabra in one piece. How do you do that? And the answer is that when we are talking about the light, we certainly do a great deal of talking about the light here, meaning the Kabbalah Center. We understand that we're not talking about a visible flame. Up until the revelation of Kabbalah, whenever over the millennia we read the section of the Becha'alotcha, this week's portion, the difficulty was, as I mentioned, that we needed God's interventions to show us the genius of how to construct the candelabra in one piece. But the deeper significance of what we can learn in our lives is, When we want to tap into the light force, and the only thing that can sustain us is in every aspect is the light force of the creator. Then we become attached, connected with the flawless universe. We aren't familiar with it. Chaos reigns supreme in every aspect of physical realm. There is nothing on physical level that does not participate in the force of chaos. There isn't anything that does not feel chaos in some form, death, decay, and so on. And so Moses' question about the candelabra was only to indicate to us today, in this century, the difficulty of how to connect to the light force of God. How in the physical realm, which knows of chaos, which knows of limit, which knows of end, do we remove these aspects? The difficulty wasn't how to create the menorah, but how to create the unity. That was the deeper significance of God and Moses was discussing. I don't know, maybe it's me, but this section hits perfectly with everything that is going on today. I never felt the Rav being such a prophet as in this section, because there's so much chaos right now, so much chaos on the physical end, so much chaos, so much confusion, so much disunity, so much ends, so much decay. Everything is all about chaos and confusion right now. And really the only answer is the light force. And the light force in terms of creating more and more unity among people. More and more unity. It's to me, it's just mind-blowing. It's, if you have the book, it's in the Kabbalistic Bible in this week's portion on page 98. I highly recommend to read it. So that's one lesson. One lesson is not to judge anyone. You know, as much as we want to judge even the people that are abusing the current situation, are looting and doing horrendous things, not to judge them as well. Not to judge them. That's the best that they can do. The only thing we can do, we need to understand that if you're a student of Kabbalah, you need to operate on a very different wavelength. You need to operate on a very different operating system. It's never about what the media, what the outside world is telling you. You have to operate on a very different operating system. And the operating system of the Kabbalists is that we're all one. So if those people are performing negative acts, we should be feeling that it's as if your kids are doing it, that you love, or it's as if you're doing it. And not only that, but it's also almost as if it's your doing. That's how the Rav would look at it. The Rav wouldn't blame, point fingers, oh, these people, oh, that people, oh, those people are negative, they're doing all this and that. No, that creates disunity. That's when you lose right away, when you think that those people and you are two different things. It's all one. If somebody's doing it, it's your responsibility. No one else's. So we cannot let, this is the weapon of Satan, thinking that we're separate beings, that we're separate people. And that's how I was feeling, I'll be honest with you. For the last 2 days, when I was looking at the videos, the news, etc., I was like, wow, these people, what are they doing? You know, what horrible, this and that and that and this and this. And then when you really understand, when you really read this, you understand that it's your responsibility. I participated in that, in all those things. Somehow, some way, if it exists in my world, I'm responsible for it. And that's the only way that you can really create unity, oneness, and connection to the light, and connection to yourself, and create more blessings in your life, more positivity, more healing, more unity, more abundance, more everything, is by taking this responsibility. You cannot separate. The moment you separate, the moment you think that the menorah can be made in different parts, in disunity, you're disconnecting from the Creator. That's why us doing this class right now, we consciously want to send light to the whole world, not just to anyone specifically. There's a few people that need healing, of course, and we want to think about them and send them light. One of our very close students, Roberto Rafael Ben Sara, needs a lot of healing. And I also know Antonina's mom, Miriam, but Sarah, I think, to send her healing also. So we want to meditate on them. But really, we want to heal our own consciousness. We want to heal our own disunity. We want to heal this me thinking that there's separation. That there's people in LA, that there's people in China, that there's people in Europe, there's people in Africa, that we're separate. No, we're all one. We're all one. So that's one of the biggest and most important lessons for this whole week, is the unity, is the oneness of humanity. I'm not better because I study Kabbalah. If I think that way, I disconnect from the Creator so much more. There's a very powerful teaching, and Michael Berg shared it I think in the Shabbat lecture of this week. And he says, and it's a teaching that Rav Ashlag says, that whenever somebody comes to the spirituality or to Torah or to Kabbalah, there is a very thin line that the person can actually start to be more disconnected from the Creator. How? By thinking that you are more special. Just because I know these rules, I know the spirituality, it happens to me all the time. I know that I'm affected by it for sure. That when I become more spiritual, the fact that I am more wise, more intelligent, know more, I am better than anyone else. The moment I have that thought, boom, separation from the Creator. The biggest trap of all spirituality is that. Any spirituality that you do, you want to start studying yoga, Buddhism, anything, is the fact that you're going to start to think that you are better just because you're doing that spirituality. Huge trap. So we need to think about that. Not to look at people separately, not to have separation. And that's what it's all about. Separation is the true weapon of Satan. Separation, thinking that I'm better, thinking there's me and you and me and them, us and we. This is the true form of Satan. When you operate in that wavelength, in that consciousness, you're connecting to the opponent. You're connecting to Satan. When you understand that we're all one, we're all responsible, and this is actually my doing in some way or some form, that's when you're connecting to the light. And that's when the solution will come, actually. Another lesson is also, to me, just very personally, is to ask the Creator, to continuously have a communication with the Creator, to continuously ask, Creator, what should I be doing? What is this? Why is this happening? What's the lesson? What's the situation? Why is this happening in the world? How come it's happening? Etc. All these things are all about connecting and establishing a better connection to the light, to understand that we're responsible. So I highly recommend reading the whole portion. There's stories upon stories in the whole portion. It's really mind-blowing. And then another beautiful section that I want to focus on is in the sixth reading of this week's portion. And it's the special section that we sing at the moment of opening the ark, which is called Vayide Soaron, which is always read by Kabbalists as the ark is opened on every time the ark is opened. Now, there's a very special thing about this, is that it's two sentences basically, and they're surrounded by letters that are upside down and inside out, which is the letter Nun, which is all about, as we know, Nun is all about connection to falling, right? Falling consciously, not physically. Nun is all about falling, and also meditating on it helps us also to get up. So it's a beautiful teaching that it actually says that these two paragraphs is actually an entire book of Moses. So this is just these two sentences. There's enough secrets, enough light, enough wisdom in this two sentences that can connect and be as equal to the entire book of names, creation, Genesis, etc. It's mind-blowing. And one of the most important lessons is that it says that this is actually it's called the personal diary of Moses. Moses actually had, as he was writing the Bible or the Torah, he was also writing a personal diary, which, I don't know where it exists or if we have any access to it. Maybe some Kabbalists, I'm sure you can have access to it somehow, but we don't have a direct access to it. And it says that these two sentences come up from here. And this also connects to our personal journey, because it's very interesting. When I found out that Moses had his own book or diary where he wrote kind of his own, commentary of what's going on, It's very interesting. And it also connects us to our own personal individual story, which is basically your own contribution in this whole situation, your own, participation in this whole story. Like, what part of you are you, what part of you is contributing to the unity or to the disunity of this? At the moment you see the crime, etc., do you start judging? Or are you like, wow, we need more light? This is what we need. We need more light. And light is the only thing that can help us in this situation. And then also understanding, what does it mean more light? What does it mean more practically for me? Is it, do I need to be more tolerant to someone? Do I need to accept more people? Do I need to be more loving? Do I need to be less judgmental? Do I need to gossip less? Do I need to judge less? Judge, not to judge people so much and create separation and think that there's good and there's bad. So that's another lesson. Another thing that I have to absolutely mention is this week's portion. It has, so we know the leaders of Israelites were Moses, Aaron, and Miriam. They were the main three prophets and the main three leaders of the generation of the desert. And Moses was obviously the kind of the number one leader. And then we had Aaron, his older brother, and Miriam, his older sister. And they three had prophecy on them, and they were leading the people constantly. And it says that Miriam was leading always over women, Moses and Aaron over men, etc. And they were, they were kind of the peak of the generation. And it's very interesting. Actually, it's so interesting. I just realized another one point that. So all of a sudden, it says, this is on page 120, if you want to look at it, in the 7th reading, Miriam starts to talk gossip, basically, evil speech. There's many interpretations to this, what she did, what she was saying, what she was referring to, what it really means. But literally, she was saying that why did Moses marry a certain woman? And actually, this woman, the way we interpreters actually understand it, is she was actually very dark-skinned. She was. I don't know what skin Moses was, but she was and that's what Miriam is saying. Why was Moses married to a very dark-skinned woman? Isn't that interesting? So appropriate to this week also, what's going on, that people are judging other people upon race and color and the most ridiculous reasons to judge someone. And basically, Miriam is actually judging Moses's wife based upon her color. Isn't that insane? That's unbelievable. And she's saying, why is he with her? And why did he pick her? Like, basically, like, totally judging. Like, there's many, many secrets to this. There's many, many secrets. I'll leave you for 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay. So we're back. I mean, this week's portion is just blowing me away. I just realized this now. Anyway, so long story short, Miriam, a prophet directly connected to the Creator, is judging her brother's wife because she was dark skinned. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's too perfect. And what happens to her? She was a prophet also. She wasn't a regular human being, meaning she was in direct connection to the Creator's energy all the time. And there's reasons why it happens. And actually, some Kabbalists say she did it on purpose because of what's going to come after from her action. And obviously, we know evil speech, judging, gossiping is one of the worst things you can do as a human being. We do it all the time. We do it every day. We do it onto ourselves. We do it onto the Creator. We do it onto other people. Literally do it all the time, nonstop. But she did it. And something very special and very beautiful come out from this. And this is one of the most important prayers. What happens, I'll tell you shortly. She says this. And they're actually, as they're doing this, as they're having this conversation, they're actually enveloped in the Creator's cloud. So it's crazy that she goes down to this level. But what happens right after, she received leprosy. She becomes leprous all over. Her entire skin becomes leprous. and they're actually taken back by it because she turns white. It's very scary. She completely turns white. She becomes leprous. Thank God leprosy is not a disease right now, but as the rabbi used to say, cancer and these diseases are very close to leprosy right now. And then something happens. She becomes quarantined. Obviously, they quarantine because that's what happened when people had leprosy in the desert. They would quarantine them and put them in a separate, isolated space. So they quarantine her, and then obviously Moses, he's not going to judge her. He says one of the most beautiful and important prayers in all of the Bible, in all of the Torah, in all the sacred writings. He says, Ela refanala, which in direct translation means, heal her now, God, I beseech you. So it's a very, very special lesson in here. First of all, this is something that we say, obviously, every Saturday morning when we meditate on healing for other people. This is also teaches us that whenever you want to impose a powerful prayer, a powerful request to the Creator, it should be short, especially something for you or someone who's close to you. It shouldn't be a long prayer of, like, please, God, do this, blah, 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 blah. It should be short. It should be short. God, please heal her now. Now, this is one of the most important prayers that we have today. It directly comes from Moses, meaning it's something that came out of his mouth first. It connects us directly to the energy of healing. It sends healing also to the Shekhinah. It says it heals the Shekhinah, this prayer that we say. It connects to the Archangel Raphael, who's responsible for healing. It says that he's responsible for all healing. There's a beautiful story I'll tell you after that says that doctors are actually, a good doctor is a channel and is always connected to the angel Raphael. And a good teacher is always connected to the angel Michael. And it's a beautiful teaching from Rav Ashlag. It says one time a doctor was visiting him and he prescribed him some medication. And right as the doctor left, he's like, feel better already. And the students and his family were like, what do you mean? You didn't take any medication, nothing happened. What are you talking about? How can you feel better already? And he's like, a good doctor, you feel good right after. You don't have to have a medication or do anything. You feel good from the energy of the doctor. So we also want to send this light to all the doctors around the world, all the healers, that all the doctors, the nurses, the people that are still helping and fighting the virus, that they're connected to the angel Raphael and that they're able to heal people just from their presence, not even from their actions. So many lessons in this. Obviously, the biggest actually says that we need to remember the act of Miriam, what she said every day. You should remember. And the reason is for a few things. First of all, to remember that no matter how high you are in spirituality, always be careful. Always be careful. Because one slight mistake and you're losing a lot of light. It's not worth it. Just like Miriam. She said literally one comment. Why is he married a dark-skinned woman? Literally, that's what she said about Moses. And immediately she fell down. Another reason is also to understand that one of the things that you should try to avoid as much as possible is judging and speaking about other people. The more you avoid judging and speaking about other people, the better you're going to be. That's why it's if you know Kabbalistic terminology, it's a mitzvah, meaning a positive commandment or a connection to the light, to remember Miriam's Lashon Hara, gossip, every single day, to remember what she did. Very powerful. So this week's portion, I mean, really, it's literally like a year worth of study. Obviously more, you can read it, you can study it for years and years. But there's so many lessons, so powerful. One of the main things, again, is we want to raise up to our own potential, our own height, our own next level, to avoid evil speech, to pray for others, to send healing to the entire world, to whoever needs it, to keep our consciousness strong and our understanding that spirituality and light is the only thing, and the wisdom of Kabbalah is the only thing that can really help humanity right now. The more you keep it, the better you're going to be. And then I really, obviously there's also, I'll just mention you some other things that are happening. There's Israelites, of course, complaining, I think twice or three times to Moses about taking them out of Egypt, of course. that's a common theme. It's very beautiful. Another beautiful section is Moses asking his father-in-law, Yitro, to stay with them, not to leave them, to stay with them and be their eyes, which is a beautiful sentence. That's another thing. There is also another very beautiful lesson. This is one I really want to focus on, is the lesson of the clouds. So we know that Israelites were in a desert. And obviously this journey is not physical, it's totally a spiritual journey of the soul, right? It's also connected to the Ana Bekoach. They had 42 stops, and the Ana Bekoach is made out of 42 letters. So the entire Ana Bekoach is connected to the travel of your soul, your soul's journey to its next level. And you can watch it tomorrow in my class on Kabbalah.com from Ana Bekoach. We're going to go deeper into it. But one of the things that you can learn is actually you are always connected to a certain letter in Ana Bekoach in your development. So in your spiritual journey, if you meditate on the entire Ana Bekoach, you can meditate and see what letter are you connected to right now, which is amazing. And each of the stops that Israelites had was one of the 42 letters. Which is beautiful. It's from the Ari. The Ari encodes and assigns each stop to the letter in the Ana Bekoach. Now, how did they move? They moved a very special way. They had a cloud that was hovering above the camp, and especially above the tent of meeting, it's called, or the tabernacle. And this cloud, it basically gave them direction. Anytime that they had to move, the cloud would lift up above the camp, and it would start moving. And it says that Moses had ways of communicating. Obviously, they didn't have telecommunications or social media back then, so they used trumpets, which are very special. They used trumpets in order to help move the Israelites and tell them that it's time for us to move. Now, what does it mean practically for us? Practically, it means something very important. It means that whenever you feel a calling to do a spiritual action, it means it's your calling, it's your duty to perform that action. And I remember the beautiful quote that I read once on a kombucha bottle, and it said, inspiration is the responsibility of creation. So whenever you feel like, I should do this, I have an insight, I should read this book, I should reach out to this person, I should complete this task, I should do this. Whenever you feel that, that's your personal cloud telling you to move to its next level. Essential that you keep a connection to your personal cloud and you do the action. It's very important that whenever you feel the inspiration, to do something, you also do the action to perform upon that inspiration. Very powerful. So what does it mean practically for us? It means that this week, in this week's energy, your ability to understand your soul's calling and the Creator's calling to you is going to be even stronger. And you're going to be healing that connection the whole week. Healing that understanding, healing that the calling that the soul and the Creator is doing for you. So it's a beautiful lesson. That's another lesson. And just a quick review. I just want to mention everything that is in this week's portion before I get to what I really want to share with you. It came to me. So again, read the portion. It's just obviously there's another beautiful story of the second Passover that happens this week. In this week's portion, the Creator tells Moses that you should perform, and do Passover, Pesach connection. And, there were people that were burying the sons of Aaron, Nadav and Avihu, that couldn't participate. And they didn't just say, oh, okay, we can't do it. Okay, whatever, it doesn't matter. They didn't say that. They came up to Moses and said, what do we do? What about us? How can we connect? How can we still connect to this energy? And Moses, it's really beautiful that Moses, it's also an example of what a channel of the Creator Moses was. He didn't start deciphering on his own. He immediately asked the Creator. He immediately asked the light force, what should I do? What should they do? And the Creator says that they can do it a month later, on the 14th day of month of Taurus. So again, really incredible, so much lesson, so much beautiful stories. But what got me really excited is I was thinking about this class yesterday, and I was thinking what to share and what to do, and what is this sentence, wisdom should cry out on the streets, outside, what does it mean practically for us, etc. And it came to me, thank God, after I asked the Creator, it came to me that one of the things that we could do right now is, I learned Kabbalah the best after I started to prepare for a class. That's a big step forward in learning the wisdom of Kabbalah. And Rav Ashlak says something. He says the best and the most powerful way of how anyone can learn something is prepare of how to teach it to others. So I actually thought, wow, why don't I give everyone, whoever is on this call, an assignment to prepare an intro or a class, first class of Kabbalah, class 1, to do it on your own. That would be amazing. That would be you taking the wisdom out onto the streets. We have time right now, right? We have more or less time, more than usual. We have the ability. You can listen to a class online, pick whoever you want. I can send and share with you my Kabbalah one in English or in Russian, whatever you want. And you can prepare and think how I can bring this wisdom out, how I can understand it deeper. And the only way to understand it deeper is by preparing to teach it. I also thought, okay, I'll get to you, whoever participates, that'll be amazing, I think. But then also, I realized how incredibly connected that is to this week's portion. Because another incident that happens in this week's portion is Moses crying out to the Creator and saying, I need help. I can't do this anymore. Like, these people are complaining. I need help. I don't know how to deal with them. And, this is too much of a burden. I'm not quoting, but something like that. So what the Creator tells Moses is, he says, gather 70 people, and I'm going to divide the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, the Spirit of the Creator that is upon you. I'm also going to share it with the 70 people. So it's easier for you to manage the whole nation. So to me, it immediately clicked. It immediately, connected that people that are more connected, like me and you right now, it shouldn't just be about the teacher, like Moses. It shouldn't just all be on him. It should be on each and every single one of us to take a responsibility of how I can take spirituality out onto the streets. Not just to keep it for me, not just it's all about me, but how can I, however long you've been studying, you can already prepare. It doesn't matter if it's your first class, you can already prepare somehow for how to give a Kabbalah 1 class. Because it's going to change your understanding and connection to the light completely. Because it's going to force you to look at it from a very different perspective. From being a vessel, which just receives, to being a channel of the light, which gives. So it really blew my mind of how connected these two thoughts are to this week's portion. That this week's portion, Moses asks the Creator to help him in this work. And he asks, and the answer that he gets is, spread it out to more people, give it to more people. And that's how you're going to make it easier for you. And that's how it's going to just make it better for everyone, actually, not just easier for Moses, just make it better to help those 70 people, which were probably in charge of a lot of souls, spiritually connected to other souls in the desert. It's going to help raise them up, and it's going to help raise everyone up. So the way I haven't been excited about this homework or this assignment or class as much as about this, because this is your opportunity to take your connection to its next level, to be actually in the role of a teacher as much as you can be right now, which is the first step, is preparation, listening, preparation, and getting this class ready. What could be more exciting? Honestly, I can tell you every class is exciting to prepare for, but definitely the first classes that I had to prepare for were probably the most exciting time of my life. Some of the highlights of me understanding concepts, understanding how they apply to me, understanding how I can deliver it to people, it's an amazing experience. And it doesn't really matter the outcome. It's more about the experience. The experience and you taking the responsibility of, yes, you know what? Maybe I have a gift of speech. Maybe I have a gift of delivering and transmitting wisdom to other people. And the only way that I can really activate it is by practicing it, is by trying it out. And every single one of us has it to a degree. Every single one of us has it. It all depends on your desire, really. The more desire you have, the more ability you're going to get. You can make out the notes, listen to a class, listen to a few classes, make out the notes, prepare, etc. I'm telling you, a week is more than enough time, or a few days, for each and every single one of us to prepare at first either an intro to Kabbalah or Kabbalah 1 Class 1. Unbelievable experience, unbelievable opportunity. This is how you raise up to the occasion, to your next level of not just being, student, teacher, oh, they will tell me what to do, etc. But you taking the responsibility, the role, the shoes of being a teacher in this world, of being a conduit of light, conduit of a creator to this whole human race. And right now, it's more apropos, appropriate than any other time of the year. And again, how it connects to this week's portion, just really, just mind-blowing that Moses kind of says, like, what do I do? Like, how can I control these people after they start complaining about that there's no meat? They wanted meat and there was no meat in the desert. They start complaining, etc. And Moses says, it's a little too much for me, boom, boom, boom. And then what happens is Creator says, okay, you know what, gather 70 elders, which means the wisest people, and I'll distribute the energy that you have also to them. So they're going to be able to prophesize as well. And what happens? It happens. That's what happened eventually. 70 elders, or the son of dream, are formed where it's easier, where it makes it easier for Moses, and it makes it easier for the whole nation also, for all the other people. Because once you take your responsibility, you are lifting other people that are spiritually connected to you. Your loved ones, your neighbors, your people that are around you, they will be influenced by that energy, by the energy and the fact that you're investing your time not in watching Netflix, but investing your time in studying and preparing how to give a class, how to give a Kabbalah 1 class. I don't know how else to share the excitement of this opportunity for everyone. Not to mention that you can take it to next level. I would love to listen to it and to help, etc. But also to take it to the next level and to share it, maybe on social media and say, you know what, through these difficult times, that's how spirituality and wisdom of Kabbalah helped me. And this is what it's about, just in general. Or just to have that process of preparing for a class where your consciousness starts to be ingrained more and more with the conduit consciousness, where you're channeling the light. So this is probably the biggest and the most beautiful lesson and opportunity of this week, is not just to be a passive recipient of the energy and the wisdom, but an active giver of this energy. And the way you do it is by preparing to give a class. Prepare to give a class. We're in the month of Gemini. Gemini is all about transmitting information, transmitting wisdom, transmitting consciousness, transmitting energy. They're conduits of energy. They're all about wisdom, understanding. They actually have a psychic ability to also understand and transmit wisdom. They're not just, Geminis on the low level are just very chatty and very collect information. On a more high level, they can transmit wisdom, consciousness, and energy on a metaphysical and telepathical level. So you have the support of the sign of a Gemini, you have the support of this week, you have the craziness going outside. You literally cannot leave your house after a complete craziness in New York, or some other time in different cities. So there's no better time to take the responsibility and to say, you know what, I'm going to invest time and I'm going to prepare to give a Kabbalah intro class, Kabbalah 1 class, whatever it is that you want. It probably should be from 10 minutes to an hour or 10 minutes to 45 minutes. Go and fully take the responsibility to do that. Just go for the experience. It doesn't need to be perfect. One of the things that I struggle with is it has to be perfect, right? There's no perfect. Everything is perfect. It's beautiful. So when I sometimes I give a class, I'm like, that wasn't like a really, like, I didn't love that class so much, God forbid I was wrong. I do love them, all of them. But then I'm like, I realized, what do you mean? If you don't do anything, it's your ego talking to you and telling you that you gave this class or you didn't do a good job. The creator did everything. And the creator performed everything for you. So you saying that the class wasn't good is you saying that the creator isn't good. So if that's what you think, keep doing that, keep thinking that. But in reality, the creator gave the class, okay? These are just some points as being a teacher that, that we use. But really the most inspiring thing is obviously from Rav Ashlag, and it's also, I'm studying with other teachers right now, and one of our teachers is very much into reading a lot of not direct lessons, but lessons from the students of Rav Ashlag. And this is something that Rav Ashlag shared with his students, that the best way to learn is to study, to teach. So take your connection, take your light to its next level. And it's so funny. I know I see a lot of students here that I've spoken to, that I've told to do this before. And it's amazing that, this is something, there's no better time, no better opportunity to do it than right now. It's not a coincidence that it's happening right now. So don't look at it also as something that's difficult. Look at it as fun. Whenever you look at anything in life and you think, oh, I have to do it, oh, this is difficult, I don't know how to do it, you're bringing all your vibrations down. You're losing the divine inspiration to do it. Be excited about everything. Be excited. Wow, amazing. This time it's totally crazy what's going on outside on the streets. No one has any idea what's going on. It's exciting. Everything will be great in the beginning. It's only pushing us to its next level. Only pushing us to its next level. And take the time to say, you know what, tomorrow I have 30 minutes where I'm going to listen to a class, take highlights, do notes, and try to put together my own. Exactly. Thank you, Zoe. It will be amazing fun. I'm gonna prepare and see how I can share this wisdom. Okay, a really incredible opportunity. I'm glad I shared it also, because I think it. I was obviously we're up late, so I was up till 2 a.m. and at 2 a.m. before going to sleep, I'm like, what's first of all, what's going on outside on the streets, and more importantly, how can I connect and what can I share with you? And that was the ultimate message that I got, that take this wisdom outside to the streets. It means each and every single one of us taking this wisdom outside to the streets. And the first step is to understand what this wisdom really is all about. And to do that, you actually have to prepare to give that class, okay? So that's your homework assignment. And before we finish, let's do a meditation. Let's help all of us connect to energy of peace, energy of healing, energy of, we always want to, Kabbalah, like one of their very close students, he's not on this call, but I love how he says it. He says a lot of classes are like data dump, and you're just dumped with information. So that's a lot of our classes kind of, but we try to mix it up and try to make it more fun and interactive. But meditation is something also very essential, and it's part of daily Kabbalistic practice that you absolutely have to activate your mindfulness and your consciousness, and the way to do that is through meditation. So we're going to do a meditation connecting to our purpose, to our next level, to bravery, not to connect to any fears, any phobias, and to be projectors. Imagine if all of us are like computers that are projecting consciousness and light into the world. That by doing the meditation and connecting more to the light, to the creator, we're projecting this energy. So another beautiful side note from Rav Ashlag, he says that a person should take half an hour a day to meditate, that he's a totally whole and complete human being. That's one meditation. And another meditation is for half an hour a day to meditate on the love of the creator, the awakening of the love of the creator in all your body parts. So that's something that you can do on your own. Beautiful, I think, exercise, but we're going to do a meditation right now. The world needs more light more than ever. That means each and every single one of us participating in that. So however you are, Get comfortable. You want to close your eyes, take a very deep breath, and only use your stomach, only use your diaphragm. And take 3 deep breaths and try to exhale longer than the inhale. And then you want to meditate and send your consciousness to the middle of the earth. And you want to imagine, how does it feel? How does it sound? How does it smell? How does it taste? How does it look to be in the core of the earth, the middle of the earth? There's so much energy of the creation there. And then you want to meditate and consciously send this energy through all the layers of the earth and send it through the bottom of your feet. And let it go through your entire body, opening up all the energy centers, all the sphirot, to align them, to synchronize them. Let it go all the way to your head, your hands, your stomach, all your organs, bringing more synchronicity and unity into your entire body, bringing more unity and synchronicity into your mind, into your consciousness, between your mind and your heart, and feel that you're completely unified and a whole, complete being. Feel it with every cell of your body. Project this consciousness to your entire body, all your cells, all your organs. Feel the unity, the oneness. And then you want to imagine and pretend that there is a ball of light above your head. Beautiful ball of light that is a part of you, that is in Hebrew called Tselem. In Kabbalistic terminology, it's always above us. And you want to pretend that you're in this ball of light. And faster than the speed of sound, you want to send it across the universe through layers of light and dark. Let it keep it going up through the worlds, through the upper worlds, and eventually come to a world that is very bright, bright, bright light. And we keep going higher to the next world that is golden light. This is where our soul family is. This is where all the teachers are, the Kabbalists, the archangels. If you want to invite some of them into your ball of light, feel free. And then you want to send this ball of light higher into the next plane that feels like jello or thick water. And try to imagine how that would feel with all your senses, and keep going higher. And then we want to see an opening with beautiful pearl-like shining light. Head towards this opening, go through it, and enter the plane of the Creator, the endless world, the tree of light, the flawless universe, the Ein Sof, Etz Chaim. And you want to blend and become one with this energy. Become totally unified with this energy. And here we want to ask the Creator to give us the healing, to give us the wisdom, to give us the inspiration, the bravery, the courage, the insight, the intuition, the connectedness, the synchronicity from the Creator, to help it and ask it to go to every level of our consciousness, every level of our soul, every cell of your body, to be filled with Creator's unconditional love and all the positive attributes of the Creator, and to fill it to everything that belongs to you, and to broadcast it to the entire world, actually. So if you want to participate and you want to receive it, say yes. And you want to imagine how this energy is starting to enter every single cell of your body. How it purifies every cell of your body. How it purifies all the levels of your consciousness, your soul. Removing all blockages, all separation, all reactivity, all Satan, all opponent thoughts, all the hatred, resentment, just completely diffusing it. And you want to broadcast it to your building, your house, everything that belongs in your house. And broadcast it to the entire world, to our cities, to our country, to the countries in the world, to the leaders in the world, so they make better decisions always. And to the entire universe, to all the beings, everything that exists in all the universe, all the universes, all the worlds, all the planes are filled with Creator's unconditional love, healing, abundance, peace, joy. Completely filled with this consciousness. We also want to internalize all the lessons that we individually and humanity in general is going through right now, and that it doesn't just end and we go back to quote unquote normal. We only go back to better. We elevate, we evolve to a higher state, higher place, higher consciousness, and we stay there. So we also want to download all that, to receive all that energy, to make it a part of us. So it doesn't give us an opening to go back, but only go higher and go forward. And if you do want to participate in homework, also to give us the inspiration, the guidance, the guidance from the Creator, to be guided like the Israelites were in the desert by a cloud, to be guided by the Creator in our life, to activate our cloud. So it guides us, so it tells us, activates our intuition, gives us the merit of being guided by the Creator every single step of the way. If you want that, also say yes. And again, we want to feel the unity of everything around us. Feel the unity in your body. Feel the connection to your home, to your building, to the earth, to our solar system, to our galaxy, to our universe, to all the worlds, the bright world, the golden world, the jello-like plane and world, and the Creator. Feel the unity of all that. Feel the oneness of it. And be responsible for broadcasting light, broadcasting energy, not to be weathered and weakened by what's happening outside, but become even stronger, bigger beacon of light. And when you're done, you can just rinse yourself in light, fill yourself up with light, and just open your eyes. So, again, thank you everyone for joining. I'll see you next week. Actually, again, some announcements. My class for Oneness of Humanity is tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, if you'd like to join. It's an amazing class. We'll be covering more and more secrets about the Oneness of Humanity. And see you. That's a main announcement. And there's a lot more classes. Hope you have Kabbalah.com membership that can give you, we have, I think we're almost like a TV channel now that we have classes one after another constantly. You can literally be studying all the time, nonstop. So wish you all the best. Again, don't forget the homework, to take the responsibility, to prepare a Kabbalah class, Kabbalah intro, as much as you can, okay? Wish you all the best. Stay safe, be positive, and broadcast light.